Hello, Scouts of Mason Troop 194 in Mason, Ohio. This is Mr. Walker, your Scoutmaster. Today, we're going to talk about the different steps that we have in Boy Scout advancement, the 4 different steps, as well as how we're going to modify one element of those 4 steps to adapt to the current situation that we're in with COVID-19 while we can't meet together in person as a troop. So the 4 steps in Scout advancement have been the same since Boy Scouts was started over 100 years ago. They start out with a Scout learning a skill. A Scout is then tested on that skill. It's often called a sign-off. Then a Scout is reviewed at a board review and a Scoutmaster conference. And then finally, a Scout is recognized for their rank at a court of honor. So to give a visual representation of those skills, this is an image of the Scout requirements that is in the back of every Scout book that people have. So the back few pages are all about the rank requirements for each one of the different ranks. You can see I happen to take an image here of the Scout rank, the first rank that we have, but the requirements are similarly represented for all the different types of ranks. So those are the requirements that a Scout needs to work on to advance. And it starts with the very first step, a Scout learns. The reference that we always go back to is the Boy Scout Handbook for the different content and the different materials that a Scout needs to learn for each of their skills. So a Scout can learn by looking at the Scout book, can learn by doing, can learn by watching, can learn by practicing. There's lots of different ways that a Scout can learn. The way that gets represented in the book is by the left-hand column next to each one of those requirements. It's often a column that's overlooked by most Scouts, but that's the way that a Scout would indicate that they feel as if they've learned that skill and that they are ready to be tested. They can place a check mark in that left-hand side column of their book. Second step is a Scout is tested. That is done by placing an ink signature with the person's initials and the date, including the year, so the month, day, year, in which they were tested on that skill, that they've sufficiently been able to demonstrate that skill. Most people call it a sign-off based on the ink signature that gets placed in that box along with the date. In our troop, we've decided there are 5 different positions that are authorized for Scouts to sign off each other. Those are the senior patrol leader, the 3 assistant senior patrol leaders, and the troop guide. And you can see the names of the Scouts listed there for the current term that we have in our troop right now. Scouts can also go to any one of the assistant Scoutmasters for also testing or sign off or verification that they've demonstrated those skills as well. So in today's world of COVID-19, we have to change how we record those different skills, because obviously we can't all meet in person and sign off the requirements in the back of the book like we normally would. The book always serves as a Scout's reference for what they've accomplished, what they've completed, and it's really important for those Scouts to be able to, all Scouts to be able to keep their book. It's a very precious document. Whenever there's a question about a date or a signature, we always go back to the Scout book to look to see what was recorded there. But like I said, today we can't all meet in person, so we have to come up with another way about how to record the Scout has learned and been tested on an activity. And the way we're going to do that is using a virtual program called Scoutbook. So while we're no longer able to meet together, we're going to temporarily transition to using Scoutbook to record the individual requirements for each one of the different ranks. To enable the Scouts to be able to connect with each other, we have assigned different assistant Scoutmasters for each patrol. So you'll see on the next slide how why that step becomes important.